Tax season is officially upon us. Join me to discuss common mistakes and tips you can use to ensure you're getting the most out of your tax return is Senior Tax Partner of Commission ENT, Jeffrey Almanzar. Jeffrey, thank you so much for joining me.
Hello, good morning. Hi, Kibin. How are you? Mhm.
I'm doing good. So I want to jump right into it. Following our second year of COVID, what were some challenges you noticed people had when filing taxes last year?
Well, in comparison from last year to this year, there's a lot of confusion because a lot of people were under unemployment. So there's a big speculation that a lot of people think that they don't have to file, when in fact there was a law that passed that a lot of people would still qualify to file their tax returns based on their 2019 earned income. So there's a lot of people that collected unemployment that can actually still file their tax returns this year. So that's one of the big questions that keep popping up this year. And also you have the third stimulus check that people received, and you also have the credit in advance for the children, the child advanced child tax credit. So there's a lot of people that think that based on that amount that they received prior, that they're not supposed to report it, or that that amount is not going to get deducted from their actual refund. So that's a few of the things that keep popping up.
Now, according to the IRS, a common tax mistake people make is filing too early. Can you explain why this might actually be an issue?
So with that, just like everything else, it's not a one size fits all situation. Um, Basically, if you have simple tax returns, just a W-2, no unemployment, then at that point you should be okay, pretty, streamlined taxes. But a lot of the issues is mostly with the state of New York. If you're residing in New York State, there's a lot of tax laws that have still yet to be passed. For instance, with the unemployment, a lot of the income that you receive from unemployment, the federal actually disregarded the first 10,500, but the state of New York is still taxing you on that income. So a lot of tax returns are still on hold, waiting for the state of New York to pass the law to pretty much decide on what they're going to do with that income. So that's one of them. Um, Besides that, I don't think there's any other issue with filing early. And then there's also I guess this urban legend that if you file quicker, you're gonna get your refund quicker. And unfortunately, the IRS is so unpredictable that there's no cheat code, as you say, on how to go ahead and file these tax returns to get the fastest return possible. So far, all the tax returns that I filed, um, we already have clients that have already received their refund. So far, so good. So I'm feeling very confident that taxpayers will get their refunds on time this year. But unfortunately, I can't say that that's going to be the case for all.
Now, something that worries many of us is the thought of entering information incorrectly and possibly going to prison, right? That's like the worst case scenario. Now, I'm sure this could greatly impact your tax returns. What should we do to ensure that everything we're putting down is actually correct?
So there has to be something going on in prison because people are really taking the risk out here and not really, concerning themselves with spending a few days in the can, as they say. So yeah, I there's a lot of people that want to go ahead and prepare their tax returns, but there's so many new laws that are out right now. There's so many questions to be answered. There's so much confusion that a lot of these softwares that provide these services, they're forced to pretty much guide you and find some sort of help to help these clients, figure out how to file their tax returns. And even at that, it's like, we have the access to the internet, we have access to these softwares, but it's like if if I tell you that you need to find a certain subject out, if you don't know the exact questions to ask, it's like the blind leading the blind. You don't know what you're looking for. You don't know what you're missing. You don't know that a tax form that you received is actually a tax form. So if you're not in this line of work, I really suggest this is not the time to take risks. And a big issue is that a lot of taxpayers, they want to go with the number that's convenient to them, right? So if you go to one tax preparer and then you go to another one, and for some reason this other tax preparer is getting you an extra $500, that doesn't mean that that tax preparer is the right tax preparer. That just means that there's something that just wasn't accounted for, right? So you have to base your tax returns on competence. You have to base it on who has the experience to help you with your tax return, in your case in particular. Um, so yeah, doing your taxes on your own right now is really not recommended, and ending up in jail is definitely a possibility if you go with, getting a $30,000 tax return and thinking that that's okay, then you have other issues that I cannot help you with.
So now that we're on the topic of this, how would you encourage those looking for help with taxes to choose a reputable preparer?
Yeah, so I mean, for instance, us here, we don't do much advertising. We are so, grateful and so blessed with having so many clients and referrals, from other clients that love the type of work that we do. So you definitely want to just ask around friends and family and see who does their tax returns and what their experience has been. Then you want to go ahead and make sure that this person has the experience in the type of tax returns that you need to be filed, right? So you have people that have corporations, you have people that have businesses, you have people that have stocks, you have people that have investments with retirement, you have people that have investments in real estate. So these are all different branches of different types of tax returns that the tax preparer might have a different type of experience. So you want to ask those questions, as far as, are you experienced in this type of tax return, and then you go ahead and base your decision on that.
Now, I think this is super important. How will the information you put on your W-4 impact what you'll see on your W-2?
Right, that's a great question. And the W-4 is basically a form that's given to you by your employer. So this is a W-2 employee. So basically, what you put on that form determines what amount of taxes is being deducted from your paycheck every week or biweekly or whatever your pay schedule is. Um, but it's a choice. You can go ahead and report that you want two allowances or one allowance. At the end of the day, you want to go ahead and report what your taxes reflect. So if you're married, you have two children, that's the amount of taxes that you're gonna get taken out of your tax return. But these forms are based on zeroing out your refund, right? So if they take out the right amount of tax returns, that means that your refund is not going to be so high. Most likely, your refund is going to balance out. But if you want a higher refund and you have two children and you put zero, then that means that they're going to take out a lot more taxes from your pay schedule. And then at the end of the year, you're going to get a refund. So a lot of people let the word refund go over their head. So refund basically means that this is your money and we took it out of your paycheck and now we're gonna refund it back to you, right? So, it's a learning curve when it comes to learning what are credits and what are refunds and what are taxes. But the W-4 is a way of figuring out what's best for you. So if you're a good saver and you feel like your paycheck is better under your supervision, where your paycheck is a lot uh bigger, and then you're able to manage getting a smaller refund, then you can do that. But some people, they're not good with saving money, so they rather just have the IRS take out the most money they can out their refund, out their paycheck, so they can get a higher refund at the end of the year. So that's definitely to your prerogative what you are, what's best for you.
Now, tax season is always a stressful time for many people. What are some ways we can prepare to avoid that stress?
Man, that's a loaded question. Okay. So when it comes to taxes, I think that with anything else in life, right? Stress is caused by a fear of the unknown, right? So a lot of people are afraid of not knowing what their outcome is going to be. Are they going to owe? Are they going to pay? Is the refund going to be big enough? So what I suggest is always try to have a conversation with your tax preparer. Maybe you can create some type of mid-year tax review where you can go over what has happened during the year, what events um, has happened tax wise. So then you can go ahead and anticipate what your tax year is going to look like, and the W-4 is a way of doing that, is looking at what your paycheck is looking like as far as what they're taking out of your paycheck. Are you contributing to your retirement enough? Are you paying enough taxes? Are you donating enough? Are you taking account any other expenses that might help you? So there's a lot of ways that you can go ahead and anticipate what your tax refund is going to look like. Another thing that might stress people is just the actual act of filing their tax return, finding the paperwork, making sure you're not missing any papers, making sure that you're doing it right. So again, finding the right professional help, can definitely put you at ease, and somebody you trust that that is going to file it, the right tax returns for you. And
So thank
you
you
know
so much. I know there's so many like indicators of like what can stress us out. And I really appreciate you taking the time to like explain that to us. If you look on the screen below, you will see his social media where you can learn more about this. And Jeff, I want to say thank you so much again for joining us for this segment. I learned so much. So again, thank you so much.
No, thank you for always having me. And we have enough questions to go for an hour. So I'll definitely, anytime you guys invite me, I'll come back and keep, giving you all the information you need. So thank you again.
That's all for our show today. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Kibin Alleyne, wishing you and yours safety and wellness now and always. See you next time.